Let's face it, managing finances or following a budget isn't easy or fun. But when the frequent and often unexpected medical expenses of a chronic illness start rolling in, you quickly realize that you need to figure out something to cover all of these bills. It's overwhelming. There's the co-pays for what seem like the endless stream of doctor's appointments, the costs for lab tests, MRIs, and don't even get me started on the astronomical cost of medication. If managing a chronic illness already didn't feel like a full-time job, manage the expenses sure will. You need to figure out how to manage these expenses because finances shouldn't stand in the way of you receiving the care that you need. That's why today I'm diving deep into the best strategies to tackle the costs of living with a chronic illness. And make sure you stay until the end because I'm going to share with you a way that you can actually start making more money too. I have a question for you. Would you like to feel more organized, efficient, and productive despite MS brain fog and fatigue? Join my 5 days to focus challenge at alenebrennan.com/focus. You'll receive tips that reduce overwhelm so you can think more clearly, a simple system to stay organized throughout your day, and easy to adopt self-care practices that support stable energy. The live challenge is happening now. Join us at alenebrennan.com/focus. There are 1 million people diagnosed with multiple sclerosis in the U.S., so that makes you 1 in a million. And you have a special purpose in this world that no diagnosis can take away from you. So if you are ready to reclaim your body, mind, and life from multiple sclerosis, welcome to my MS podcast. I'm your host, Alene Brennan. Did you see the recent headlines about Drake? In case you missed it, Drake is a hip hop artist, and at a recent concert of his in Toronto, he offered to cover the medical expenses of a fan newly diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. Could you imagine? You start your night excited to see your favorite artist perform live, and you end your night knowing that all of your medical expenses for MS are paid for life. Drake actually stopped the show when he saw a fan close to the stage holding up a sign that said, "I just got diagnosed with MS. Can you help me?" He was visibly moved and pointed out the sign to the entire crowd, saying, "This one's important to me." Then he tells everyone about his close friend who was diagnosed with MS at age 22. He talks about the courage his friend has had with facing MS and then promises to cover this fan's medical expenses. Just a side note here, but I thought it was absolutely hilarious and so confirming that this person was newly diagnosed, because when he shares that he's going to cover her medical expenses, she's obviously like excited. But then at the end, he tosses in 2 tickets to the following night's concert, and her reaction seems more excited over the extra tickets than it did over the medical expenses. Which to me just so validated that she was newly diagnosed, because she didn't fully realize the incredible gift that she had just received. But she was certainly so grateful for what he had just offered. And I mean, hearing this, don't we all wish that we were the ones standing there by that stage with that sign and having Drake cover our medical expenses for life? Unfortunately, most of us won't get that opportunity, but the whole incident does underscore a broader issue that I want to talk about today. Living with multiple sclerosis is not only hard physically and emotionally, it's also hard financially. Again, there's the co-pays of doctor's appointments, the cost of lab tests, MRIs, and medication. One recent article I saw said that the costs for most disease-modifying therapies are greater than $70,000 a year. $70,000 a year. That is more than most people make in a year. That is insane. And that's just speaking to conventional treatments. If you're listening to this podcast, you likely also have an interest in functional treatments, or at least buying higher quality food and supplements, as well as getting treatments like acupuncture and massage. If that's the case for you, episode 4 is definitely one that you want to check out. The episode is all about how to build your dream MS wellness team without breaking the bank. That episode has tips on how to navigate more of the out-of-pocket expenses for functional and holistic treatments. So give that episode a listen if you haven't already. Today, I want to talk about ways to manage your overall budget and manage the cost of the conventional side of medicine. And the first step in doing so is to start a budget. If you don't already have a budget, now's the time to do it. I know, I hate budgets too. I am groaning with you. But you need to get intentional with how you're spending your money. The goal here is not to make you feel stressed or overwhelmed in yet another area of life. It's designed to help you create a plan so you have better peace of mind about covering your expenses moving forward. Now, if this idea is already stressing you out, just start small. That's the key to starting any big goal that you have. Break the first step down to something that feels so easy, there's almost no excuse not to do it. I mean super small, like figuring out your login details to your online banking account. That can be your first step if you don't have your login details yet. Or Googling the top 5 budgeting apps that you can download to your phone to create an automated budget. Another great and easy way to get started is simply print out the previous month's bank statement and just see where you spent your money. You could even grab a couple highlighters and start categorizing them. House, groceries, entertainment, medical. Then maybe you decide which area has a little extra to trim. And try not to be discouraged if you can only trim $20 in your entire budget. It's a start, and every dollar adds up in time. And look, if this idea still feels like too much, see if you can connect with a financial planner who can help. There may even be free services at your local community center or church. But the bottom line is that you need to know where your money is being spent so you can make informed decisions about your medical expenses moving forward. Now let's explore an avenue that can help to alleviate some of this financial strain. Many pharmaceutical companies have patient assistance programs designed specifically for MS patients. These programs are designed to provide medications at a reduced cost or sometimes even for free if you qualify. Anytime that you're prescribed a new medication, always ask your doctor or pharmacist about any available patient assistance programs. They often have the most up-to-date information or can guide you to the right resources. So you may be asking, do I qualify for something like this? The eligibility criteria for these programs can vary. They may take into account factors such as your income, insurance coverage, and overall financial need. It's worth noting that even if you have insurance, you may still qualify for some programs, especially if your insurance doesn't cover the entirety of your medication cost. Typically, applying for these programs involves filling out an application. I know, even more paperwork. Oh, yay. But this one could save you a lot of money, so it's worth it. Just grab a cup of tea, put on your favorite playlist, and start filling it out. And just a heads up, your doctor may need to provide information as well, so just factor that into your timing. One last thing to keep in mind about these programs is that they change. A drug that's full price today might get a discount tomorrow. So check in every once in a while, especially if there's a change in your medications or your financial situation. Look, I know these programs aren't always easy. There's a lot of red tape and they require effort on your end. But this could be the difference between you being able to afford the medication that you need. So it's worth it. And if you need to ask a family member or a friend to help you fill it out, do it. People often want to help, but they don't know how. This is a great opportunity to receive that support. Okay, let's move on here. The other thing to keep in mind is that healthcare companies know that most people can't afford to pay off a large bill all at once. If that's the case for you, you can often arrange a payment plan. Once you know the total amount of your bill, reach out to the billing department and discuss with them what you can pay on a monthly basis, and they can arrange a payment plan with you. They just want to get the bill paid. So as long as you communicate a plan with them, they're often pretty willing to work with you. Another avenue to explore in managing the cost of multiple sclerosis is the use of FSA or flexible spending accounts and HSAs or health savings accounts. Personally, I have found these to be so helpful in managing medical expenses over the years. FSAs and HSAs are basically specialized accounts that allow you to set aside pre-tax money to cover healthcare costs that insurance might not fully cover. Now, it's important to check your eligibility for these accounts. HSAs are often associated with higher deductible health plans, whereas FSAs are typically benefits that an employer provides. If both are available to you, it's worth comparing the benefits and the limitations of each to determine which aligns best with your current medical and financial situation. Now, you can use the money in these accounts to cover not only doctor's visits, medications, but also services like physical therapy, over-the-counter medication, and even some alternative treatments. One important rule to remember with these accounts is this: FSAs typically have a use it or lose it policy by the end of the year. HSAs, on the other hand, you can typically roll over your money from year to year. That money, it's yours and it's yours to keep. So it's important to know what you have so that you can plan accordingly. Personally, I've always used an FSA account. And what I love about the experience is that you can allot a certain amount of money at the beginning of the year that you want to contribute. And that's gradually deducted from your paycheck throughout the course of the year. But the money is now on a separate card just for medical expenses. To me, it just seems a lot easier from a budgeting perspective. Okay, now I promised at the beginning of this episode that I would not only show you how to save money, but I would also show you how to make money. This might require a little out-of-the-box thinking, so stick with me here. But let me start by telling you about my dear friend and fellow MS warrior, Kathy Reagan Young. In short, she was working at the time she was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, but she soon realized she couldn't maintain both her job and her health. And eventually she lost her job. So her paycheck stopped coming in, but her medical expenses certainly didn't stop coming in. She needed to figure out a way to generate an income from home and in a way that she could manage her health. Well, the road to figuring this out was bumpy. But in time, she was able to replace her previous income with jobs that she was not only doing from home, but doing so with the flexibility that she needed to support her health. As many of you know, once you figure out the solution to a problem, you want to share it with other people too. You want to help make that road a little easier for those coming alongside you. So Kathy did exactly that. She created a program called Patients Getting Paid. It's a membership program where she helps people with chronic illness find ways to make money that offer flexible schedules so that you can take care of your bills and your health. Patients Getting Paid offers things such as a list of paid gigs, some as simple as a survey that you get paid to complete. She offers monthly trainings on skills that you can learn and potentially market. And if you're looking to start your own business, she has a ton of trainings and resources to help you get a business off the ground. If you're looking to make some extra cash to help offset your bills, but need something that is flexible, check out patientsgettingpaid.com and reach out to Kathy. She is an incredible resource to the MS community. Look, I know MS wasn't part of your plan. It wasn't for any of us. But when we are here in this moment, in this reality, we have to start creating the opportunities that are going to support us in living the best life with this illness. And this could be a great opportunity to start thinking outside of the box of creating different sources of revenue for you that will help to, again, offset some of these medical expenses, but give you the flexibility that you need to manage your health as well. So it's a great opportunity to think about a skill or a service that you have that can now be marketed maybe in a slightly different way. For example, if you used to work in the corporate world or at an agency as a designer, maybe you consider doing some freelance work on a website like Upwork or Fiverr. Or if you were previously a teacher, maybe you offer some online tutoring. If you've had a hobby for crafting and painting, maybe this is the time to start considering selling some of your handmade items on a site like Etsy. And with all of the people starting online businesses these days, there is a huge demand for virtual assistants. So maybe that's your area of expertise. My point is that whether you're trying to replace your income or simply just have a little side gig to offset your medical expenses, there are a lot of creative ways and out-of-the-box options for you to consider. And if you need some guidance, again, reach out to Kathy at patiencegettingpaid.com. Okay, my friends, that is a wrap for today. I hope that you found at least one tip here today that can help you make a difference in reclaiming your body, mind, and life from multiple sclerosis. Well, my friend, we've reached the end of this episode. Pick one lesson from today's discussion and put it into action now. It's time to reclaim your body, mind, and life from multiple sclerosis. And for more resources, events, and programs, head over to alenebrennan.com. See you on the next episode of my MS podcast.